This month's Miracle or Two Monthly Marquee is bringing small town charm, holiday cheer, and plenty of laughs. We're spotlighting A Small Town Christmas, a heartfelt and hilarious musical by Stacia Fernandez and Danny Rooney that brings the magic and mayhem of the season to life. Set in the fictional town of Smalltown, USA, this holiday musical is packed with quirky characters, catchy tunes, and a whole lot of festive spirit. Whether you're a fan of Hallmark-style holiday stories or looking for a feel-good musical to warm the hearts and lift spirits, A Small Town Christmas is the perfect seasonal treat. We sat down with Stacia Fernandez and Danny Rooney to learn more about the inspiration behind the show, their favorite moments, and what makes A Small Town Christmas a must-see production. So I'd like to welcome Stacia Fernandez and Danny Rooney to the conversation. And this is about a wonderful new musical, A Small Town Christmas. So tell us a little bit about yourselves, Stacia and Danny.
I am an actress, a Broadway actress, and a writer, obviously. And I have great love of musical theater. I've been doing it for a long time, and I'm really, truly excited that Miracle or Two has taken an interest in our musical. And thrilled to be here and thrilled to be here with Danny.
Yes, and I'm a composer lyricist for musical theater. I have a couple other shows that are out there trying to make their thing, and I also am a book writer on certain shows. I was an actor in a past life, and that's how Stacia and I met through acting friends, and then now we're writing this, or we've written this holiday musical.
That's very exciting. Yeah. Thank you guys for being here. So bravo to you for creating A Small Town Christmas. So can you tell us a
Thank
little
you.
bit about Small Town Christmas? I was just fascinated by sort of the style of it, the concept of it, and why it will resonate to an audience in a nostalgic way, but in a modern way.
Sure. On this particular day in Small Town, the townsfolk are rehearsing for their annual Christmas pageant that has been the same for years and years and years. And Angela Small, who runs the Small's Christmas tree farm where they're rehearsing, refuses to let it change. But then this day, her long lost sister Evelyn comes into town, and Evelyn actually owns the rights to the farm. And she doesn't like Christmas very much. She actually has a Christmas phobia. And she decides she's going to tear down the farm and actually the whole town and build a mall. Gasp. And so that's really what happens. And by the end, the bulldozers are coming, and the townspeople have to try to save their town.
And they do, I suspect. I don't, spoiler alert, I'm just saying. Probably. I'm
Yeah.
hoping they do.
The Carol of the Wrecking Ball.
Yes, that's the big, yeah. So
This is just a show that about wanting to keep Christmas the way it's always been. And it's a strong story between two sisters and how their lives change because of coming back together after a period of time. And so we really think that it's not a Christmas Carol, right? It's a brand new musical, and we think people are going to get a kick out of it.
yeah, we really like. I also love the sort of undertitle that we have of a new old-fashioned musical because that's very much the feel of it. That it's classic. It's and Stacia is so good with those jokes and like those classic jokes. But then it has this new edge to it that I think I don't know is a really interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah, well, I love
Yeah.
the music too. It's like, feels like this great classic musical from that television era that I remember so well as a kid, right? All
Yeah.
those TV specials. And I think you mentioned at some point that it's really inspired by the claymation uh, characters in stories in many respects. So that really sparked my imagination about it, and how earnest and kind of offbeat it can be at the same time, perhaps. So can you tell us a little bit about that's the style of the comedy, the style of the music, and all of that, and how that fits together?
We take this idea exactly as you said of an old-fashioned sitcom and we add some meta comedy to it. So there's some references to what's happening today, but a couple of these characters are very stuck in the past. We have six main characters and two of them are ostensibly played by older people, and that's Dale and Renee. So they sort of keep us rooted in the Mary Tyler Moore or the Lucille Ball show and his references to the Ed Sullivan show sometime, which just confounds the younger people. They're like, what in the world are you talking about? So
Right.
it's nice for older people to come in and sort of hear comedy and references that they know. But then we have a young person in the show, and it could be played by any gender or any age. We have him or them scripted to be between 8 and 15 years old. But it's interesting because this youngest character comes in with actually the most wisdom,
Hmm.
so we love that. So, but the comedy is just, it's screwball. When it's funny, it's funny. We were lucky enough to do a developmental production of this, one developmental production so far. And Danny, I'm not exaggerating, am I, when I said people were falling out of their chairs?
The
It was so much fun to see their reaction to the show.
Yeah, it was incredible. We were working with university kids, and even these university kids who maybe are figuring out their comedic chops. It was amazing. I mean, the questions they would ask, though. I mean, Stacia has this great joke about Doris Day parking, and they were like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Right.
But like, so but I think it's really cool that it's cross generational, especially for a holiday show. Grandparents are going with kids, and so finding a way that everyone can come together is really neat. And I love that you mentioned the old claymation thing because I kind of forgot that we had said that. But that's what I love about these six characters. You almost I don't want to say they're stereotypes because they're not, but like they are such specific cartoons, and that's really exciting to see people play on stage, I think.
Yeah, they're prototypical, and so everybody's going to find someone to follow and relate to,
Yeah.
and they're going to like,
Absolutely.
yeah, am I really that wacky? I guess I am. It's like it
Uh-huh.
sounds like just an ideal and very fresh idea for a show. Again, I got to say, I love the script, but I also so love the music and lyrics
Thank
that
you.
you've written. I think it's immediately accessible
Okay.
and yet super smart.
Great.
Those lyrics are super smart and pithy. So in a way, you're this uh, a small town Christmas is going to be attractive, I think, to all us folks that came from small towns, whether you live in the big city now or not. But let's talk about what that does, how this show brings a community together in this experience they have in the theater.
I think when you base anything around a small town, like no matter where you live, as you just said, Ray, small town gives the image of neighbor helping neighbor, neighbor knowing neighbor, neighbor gossiping about neighbor. And I think everybody who lives wherever they live are going to come in and see themselves in these characters. And I think they're going to see their own heart, they're going to see their own humor, and they're going to see the people that they gossip about down the street. So I think it's really going to be community building because people are going to leave with this communal sense of this farmer and this church uh, pianist and this dancing attorney. And they're going to be able to say, everybody just needs to relax a little bit and have some fun over Christmas and bring us all back to that sense of living in one small town. Because even if you're in a giant metropolis, we're all still dealing with our neighbors, right?
Yeah,
We're
that's for
more
sure.
alike than we're more alike than we are different. And I think
And
this
that's
show helps point.
sounds like the perfect Christmas message. And I can think of so many shows. And I'm thinking of It's a Wonderful Life. When you bring this up, I'm like, oh my God, that is Christmas. What you're talking about. That we are
Yes.
there for each other, and we need to rediscover that all the time. So that's beautiful. It's
Yes.
wonderful.
This show is led by two very strong female leads with some amazing, hilarious dialogue and some great songs to sing. So
And
that's nice.
I'm sure there's a relationship between sisters, uh, is something everybody can relate to. Maybe it's
Right.
more extreme because it's a comedy, but I'm sure at the end of the day, it's got extraordinary heart because of that.
Oh yes.
Absolutely.
Tons of heart.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the things over the holidays, a lot of people get into little spats with their family, or maybe they actually have a grift in their family. They haven't talked with someone for a while. There might be a world where this show might inspire someone to reach out, which I think is a really beautiful message in the show too.
Well,
Because it is,
laughter breaks
oh,
down the barriers and opens the heart. So if this is the kind of story you're telling, right, and you get some laughs to begin with, they're going to happily go on that road with you.
Great.
right.
Yeah.
And it's about it all, we should just say too that inside that comedy and these great songs, it's a show about chosen family and found family. And we think it really opens your heart through the laughter. You're right, Ray,
Yeah.
to open your heart and listen and look at those around you in a new way. And hello, that's what Christmas is all about.
It really is. So I think you've done it all right in that respect. So I would love to encourage theaters out there to maybe we could call it the world premiere. If we can find a theater to do this, they would be have the opportunity to say they did the world premiere of A Small Town Christmas. And
Absolutely.
the smallest cast size seems like a fairly simple show, not simple show, nothing, there's no such thing as a simple show to do, I will say that, but a reasonable opportunity in terms of producing the show. It's not that difficult, I would suspect.
This can be a one set show. It can be a show that you write, that you build a barn set for it and then do some in one of the city street scenes, or the Christmas tree farm can even move across the stage or be upstage. You could do one set, is my point. Or you could, if you have a bigger budget, you could absolutely make this a big main stage musical. For a second stage space, which I think it would be perfect for if a theater already has, say, White Christmas booked on their main stage. This is a great alternative to keep your audiences coming in, because we all know that those Christmas seasons for theaters and the subscribers, even people who have never been in your theater before, will come around at Christmas. So it'd be lovely to have this small hilarious musical as your second show to offer, because you could do it on a smaller budget with a smaller cast, because you can do the show with 6 people or with 60.
I mean, right now the we have just piano, bass, and drums. It's just what we did for that developmental university thing. But there's also a version of this show where it's just piano. It's a pretty strong piano score. I did not orchestrate it. Someone did piano orchestrations. Um, and there's a world where you could even do this show and have, if you have a fantastic pianist who can play one of the characters, like specifically Renee, who is supposed to be like the church choir director. Like you could do that. You could do 6 people and one of them plays the piano.
So basically,
Mm-hmm.
your 6 people includes your orchestra, and they're on stage. You could also make the show much larger by adding additional people in a town or this or that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, because our developmental workshop was at a university, we wanted to make sure that all of those students could be involved. So we had a much larger cast. And we did take some of the internal, we have that version of the script. So that's not something people will just have to make up, but that's also available for a larger company.
One thing about being able to do it with a larger cast, if you want, or these 6 people, is there, I think there are, if I'm counting it right, it's a 90-minute show, no intermission. Um, I think there's like 6 big numbers with everyone. They can be big dance numbers. They don't have to be dance numbers. But we've got a big song called Mr. Candy Cane. That's a huge, either it's gonna be a tap number, it could be a soft shoe number that's really fun. We have a song called A New Old Fashioned Christmas. We have Snowflakes Fall. We have these big, exciting, even though it's a small show, the music does get big, it swells, it is exciting for an audience and a cast. to do these production numbers. So that can be really exciting.
This is such a delightful show. I kind of want to know more about the characters and who they are and how you might cast them.
We have two sisters, Angela and Evelyn Small, and you might note that Angel and Evil are in their names. Wink, wink. So we have those two, and we have Russell, who is an attorney who's longing to open a dance studio. That's his whole MO, and it comes out through the course of this show. We have Dale and Renee, who are two older character actors who sort of bring the heart and bring us back to the Lucille Ball show or Mary Tyler Moore. They sort of invoke that era. And we have Alex, who is our youngest member of the cast, who is a very old soul. And he or she actually ends up being the one who is the sage in our show and sort of teaches all of these older people a lesson about how to embrace the world in a new way.
Well, that's great.
We love them. We love them. We love them all. And anybody who does this show, what Danny and I were talking about earlier is what's going to be fun for theaters who pick this show up and decide to do it every year or every other year is whoever steps into these parts is going to bring new heart, new quirkiness, new top riff notes for Evelyn, a new sense of being stayed and stuck in the past that Dale has. It's going to be great.
And it seems to me too, at the same time you've created this original story with original music, you've also, like you said, Danny, the ride is very much a traditional musical comedy ride. I mean, when you get the sort of feel of the production number, you get these two beautifully placed ballads, and there's a I'm not going to say it's formulaic, but it's going to give you the ride that you came to a musical theater and a musical comedy for, which I think is so intelligent, so smart, and sometimes we forget about that. That's what people are there for, audiences.
Yeah.
Danny and I were lucky enough to be at the first presentation of this developmental workshop that we did, and people were running to us saying, that how much they enjoyed it. So it was very exciting for us as writers to feel that reaction on that first go round.
And what about, and I'm just absolutely certain you got similar kinds of feedback from the actors that were playing those roles. I always think that's important.
Yeah, we definitely did. I mean, I think that first of all, it's just exciting to work on a new piece. And I mean, these are college kids, and they were like, I'm the first one to sing this song, and you're changing notes here and there because it's like, oh, I haven't really heard it in like a real mezzo's voice. I mean, like I've heard it in my voice, and I've heard it, frankly, I've heard it in, I live in New York City around a Broadway community where I have, someone sing it and it's like, it sounds easy for you. Not everyone can do that, And so learning that and being the first person to test that out, I think was really exciting. And some of these actors, these young actors were even given opportunities that I don't think that they thought that they would. The girl who played Evelyn hadn't really had a big part, but we saw something in her that was it was kind of very Jennifer Coolidge, like a young Jennifer Coolidge, and she was so funny. So yeah, that was really exciting.
And you guys have just done a pretty significant rewrite of this piece. Am I not mistaken? Yeah.
While we were there, basically, it was a developmental, so a lot changed. I mean, frankly, like I think we cut 5 songs and I wrote 5 new songs. So there's plenty of new material.
So I just want to say how great it's been having you guys on our Miracle or Two monthly marquee with A Smalltowne Christmas. And what I can't wait to find out is what theater out there is going to do the world premiere of Smalltowne Christmas. It is such a great show. You're such great writers. And here we go. Another wonderful show. And this time it's a Christmas show. Thank you both for taking your time and being a part of Miracle or Two.
Thank you.
Gosh, we're excited to see what happens, and we're here to discuss it.
Thank you to Stacia Fernandez and Danny Rooney for sharing the story behind A Smalltowne Christmas. If you're interested in presenting the world premiere of this warm, funny, and feel-good holiday musical to your stage, visit miracleor2.com. Stay tuned for more spotlights in our Miracle or Two Monthly Marquee series.